Julia, a few questions. First of all, how important is it for you to have your work performed in concerts and festivals?
Well, it's absolutely essential, actually. I mean, what can I say? The music does not live from black dots on white paper alone, but it's important to be in a festival where other people's pieces are being performed as a form of networking, of meeting new musicians, people who you might otherwise not work with. And as far as concerts are concerned, I mean, the difficulty is always funding, but in Switzerland, at least where I live, there's usually enough money to be able to A, put on a small-scale festival, and B, put on concerts of new music.
And specifically festivals, because that interests me. Women aren't terribly well represented at festivals throughout the world.
Exactly. Actually, I'm part of the first Swiss Female Composers Festival, which is going to be 2 weeks from today in Zurich. And these many of the women who are going to be represented are people who are otherwise not always seen immediately. A few of them have careers, and other people have had trouble getting things going in a way. So hopefully that will be a good possibility.
I remember when they started performing women's works at the London prom concerts, people noticed that they were often sort of afternoon concerts in a church somewhere, but not in the big Albert Hall.
Right.
This is changing, of course, a lot now, but that used to be the situation for women at festivals.
I mean, actually, the thing is to get the powers that be to come to these things and hear the music and hear how good it is and want to program it.
Yeah.
I mean, just otherwise one is always kind of working from the outside in rather than being on the inside and getting things done.
And are there any festivals or concert series that have particularly influenced you?
Actually, only negatively.
Okay,
I don't have a lot of experience with festivals, but
well, that was going to be my next question, actually. What negative experiences have you had regarding festivals and concerts?
Well, the fact that I had work programmed on a series in which I was actually on the board of this series, and I do not mind saying this publicly, and in the concert where my piece was played, half of the board was on vacation. They simply chose not to be there. So that is, for me, a very negative experience, especially because I got a glowing mention in the newspaper the following week. They were all like, oh, well, guess we should have been there. So...
And have you suffered, for example, from lack of rehearsal time? I'm asking this because this has happened to me.
Yes and no. I mean, it's definitely happened.
Yeah.
Yes. In fact, it did happen at. It was a choir piece that was colossally under rehearsed, and half of the women in the choir weren't there. The men were Feuer und Flamme, and the ranks of the women were about half of what they should have been.
Okay.
And it was actually a competition prize. I won a small prize at this competition, and then the performance was definitely unspectacular.
Yes. Okay.
Thank you for reminding me of that.
Yeah, that can happen. And have you ever tried to organise a festival of your own or a concert series?
Concert series, no, just individual concerts.
Okay.
I mean, more one program performed in several places rather than a series going over a long period of time.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. Can you tell me a little bit about how you came to be a composer rather than a performer? Because you're also a performer.
Yes. Well, it's all actually extremely personal. I came to Europe to become an opera singer, and I lost patience with myself. I also don't feel that I had the right teaching for myself. And I thought, okay, well, I'm, heading towards 30. It's time to start a family. And I had been singing, not in opera houses, but I'd been giving concerts, church concerts, shows, chanson shows as well. And I was hugely pregnant and thinking, I'm going brain dead. And it was the first time since I was 3 that I wasn't doing something musical.
Yeah.
And I had composed a little bit as a kid and as a teenager, and made a couple of vague attempts that in my early 20s that were just absolutely nothing. And then I thought, okay, well, now or never. and it was a decision. It wasn't something I kind of slipped into. It was a very conscious decision, and it was a wonderful accompaniment to the first years of motherhood.
Yes, yes.
And I even, after a few years, I was already having things played, so it was the right thing.
Oh, that's very interesting. Yes.